Good day, my fellow Americans. We are back again with Leonidas Hamza, and this is Hamza's Advocacy. Okay, I need to make a video before November 5th, 2025, which is tomorrow. And tomorrow is the big day. It is the hearing for the opposition in which I wrote for the motion to dismiss. Okay? It is to lift the veil on this motion to dismiss. I have been going at this for 5 months now. I have created, I believe, 9 videos as well. All the videos had started from the initial complaint. Up until this point, I have talked about not only the complaint, but also the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, the Civil Rules of Evidence, and the judicial canons. Along with that, I have also talked about the response, which I will have, well, the counter argument I will have in regards of the motion to dismiss. Today I have many things I want to talk about, okay? Because tomorrow's the big day. I don't have any fear. Not the fear I felt last time. I feel energetic. Part of that is because of the event that I went to over the weekend. That event that I went to over the weekend was a part of what's called Young Invincibles. Hold on. Now this is a bag I got from the event. But this is Young Invincibles. And this group is an incredible advocacy group. Excuse me. And what they do essentially is they are preparing young minds and higher academics to go and stand in front of state legislators and lawmakers to make a difference, to advocate for policies, to reform policies and such. I mean, it was an incredible retreat. It was the first and the second, so Saturday and Sunday. I had a good time. We planned a lot of things. We did a lot of things. I made a lot of good friends. People I'm sure that I will see in the near future in political positions. Maybe even legal positions. Some people there wanted to be lawyers. Some people were social workers. It was just, all in out, it was a great time. I myself am 31. And it was just beautiful to see those in their 20s, 18, 19, 20s, to be so interested in change. And they were so motivated and driven for the good fight. It was just a great opportunity, and I am so thankful for the opportunity. My initial reasoning for being there was because of, well, the Illinois Community College Board. As I have said before in my other videos, which if you have not watched the other videos and you are watching this one, I would recommend you pausing this video and going back to my previous videos and starting from video 1 up until video 10. Don't quote me on that. I may be mistaken. There may be, I'm pretty sure there's 9 videos, so this is the 10th video. Even so, you should go back and watch all of them up until this point. Okay? And as I said before, I am a part of the Illinois Community College Board, which I am the advocacy chair member, and I will be going and talking in front of the state legislators here in Illinois April 9th, 2026. My main focus is talking to the Illinois legislators about mental health crisis and higher academia. And there's other topics that we're going to be discussing. But Young Invincibles, that group of individuals, will also be there. As well as my honorable PTK. They will also be there to advocate and to watch and to cheer on those standing before the state legislators, encouraging them to put money forth towards the future, towards the young minds that want to make a difference in this world. So we will see what happens then. It's going to be incredible. And now the next topic of discussion is I have told you all that I took the necessary administrative routes in this complaint. And what I mean by the necessary administrative routes is that I have contacted the Attorney General. I have wrote a complaint to HUD, which is Housing Authority, okay? And I have officially received a letter from the Office of the Attorney General. And this is incredible. Doesn't have any sensitive information on it, but the Attorney General, Office of the Attorney General, State of Illinois, Quam Rayal Attorney General, and this is to me on behalf of Mercy Housing. I finally have a file number. Now, in regards to HUD, I have not received anything back yet, and I know I will. If I receive something back from the Attorney General, because they did tell me it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for you to receive initial response to this, and they actually got back to me a lot sooner than I was expecting. I'm going to read this real quick. It says, Dear Leonard, the Consumer Protection Division of the Office of the Attorney General has received your consumer complaint. A copy of your complaint has been forwarded to the above-named business for its review and response. The business may contact you about a possible settlement after it receives our letter. We encourage you to consider any reasonable offer. If the business responds directly to our office, a copy of its response will be mailed to you. This is an informal mediation process. We are unable to represent private citizens in legal disputes. Please direct all correspondence to my email via email, when possible, or U.S. mail to Office of the Attorney General, Consumer Protection Division, Consumer Fraud Bureau, 500 South 2nd Street, Springfield, Illinois, 62701. Please reference your file number on all correspondence. And this was, well, it probably does not matter. Sincerely, Attorney General, State of Illinois, Ashley Murray, which is most likely the assistant at this Springfield office here in Illinois. So this, it says, what I thought was interesting was Citizens Advocate, Consumer Protection Division, and then so on and so forth. I don't want to give out personal information like that. Email, phone number, let's not do that. However, this is beautiful right here, and I have typed out basically what is going on here, because I'm going to have to, this will be evidence. I'll go ahead and make copies of this, but this will not be evidence for the hearing. This will be evidence for when we go into discovery, when we go into trial. And that can be brought forth, showing that I have taken the necessary procedures in this case, essentially. 25ML147. So, basically, what I've typed out here is that my complaint was accepted. This letter shows that it was accepted. And the Illinois Attorney General has opened a file. And that's why I have a file number. So, Mercy Housing may now settle, or they may respond. But the Attorney General is telling them to settle or respond to what is happening. The Attorney General will forward Mercy Housing's reply to me, like it says in the letter. So if Mercy Housing replies to the Attorney General, I will receive a response, which is really cool. I just realized how horribly that bothers my mind. They probably fold a lot of letters. But anyways, back on topic. This is exactly where we want to be, of course, with this letter. As an oversight paper trail, it shows that I took the administrative steps to remedy this situation. It's like you have a problem at work, you go to your shift manager. Your shift manager don't listen, you go to the You go to the other manager, which is there's the shift, just the manager, and then you go to the general manager, and then you go to the corporate manager. Okay, nobody wants to take you seriously. I'm gonna go talk to me. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna give legal advice, but I would recommend not going to get a lawyer, but go get a lawyer. Go write a civil complaint, as I'm trying to teach you. That's the whole goal of this. I'm advocating for not just pro se litigation, for many other things. If you would read my, what is it? It's when you go and click on my profile, and it'll tell you everything that we advocate for, which is homelessness, veterans, students, a variety of things, herbal medicine. I mean, my whole point of what I do is to speak for the general public, to speak on behalf of the American people, not just because I think it's the right thing to do, but because I have also experienced a majority of what the American people have experienced: poverty, hunger, drug abuse, alcohol abuse. I have experienced homelessness, and that is what it's like to be an American. To be an American is not to just be born into some wealthy family, have everything handed to you, and then think that you can pay and buy your way into political positions, and now you think you can understand or relate or have empathy for us. These politicians have no idea what it is to be us. I know what it is like to be us. And sadly, even though I've experienced some of the most horrific things, there are those who have experienced way worse than what I will ever experience, or way worse than I can even imagine. There's some people out there in America that have experienced what we would call a third world country has experienced. My story may be devastating, but there are certainly those who have a more devastating story, and those are the kind of people we need to help. Because if we help them, they can rise up, turn all of their animosity and pain and anger and experiences into something that could be motivating and moving to uplift others. And this country can make it. It can become something different. We got to take the broken and abused and turn them into leaders. And that's what Hamza's advocacy is. Okay? And so back on topic, basically, let's see. So they emphasize informal mediation in the Attorney General's letter. Okay? And this supports my position that I pursued resolution before litigation. And that's ultimate key here. I pursued resolution before litigation. I went up the chains of command, every chain of command. The assistant property manager, the property manager himself. I went to the area manager. I tried to contact corporate. I sent them letters and I had no response back to them. I went up the proper chains of command before I wrote a civil complaint and took this to the courthouse and asked them to mediate this situation. After I did that, that was when Mercy Housing was willing to take this is about a lease violation. As I said, watch the other videos. When I filed the civil complaint, Mercy Housing then wanted to take the lease violation off. They then wanted to make an apology. I said, no, you're going to pay now. And I made monetary relief on top of the fact that, well, not on top of the fact, on top of it. As I've said before, this is not just about monetary relief. I mean, you're going to pay me for my time. I have now gone 5 months, almost 6 months into putting all this together. You're going to pay me for my time, but you're also going to make things right for these other folks that live here, which are veterans. Okay? It's time that somebody stands up at this apartment complex and does something so these veterans are not consistently leaving here. Every single veteran that lives here The reason they're here is just like the situation I was in. I was homeless. These veterans were homeless. That's what this apartment complex is about. There's a place, a facility that was willing to help out homeless veterans, which is beautiful. I don't discredit Mercy Housing for that. However, I do discredit the agents in which they have working on behalf of them. Okay? These people, I don't want to say they're not good people. I'm sure they have in their heart that they care. I'm sure that in their heart they feel empathy for these people. They wouldn't be in the job positions that they're in. But their virtues are not strong. Okay? And they need to be, I'm just going to say, either they need to go to some formal training to resituate themselves, and as it is said, it is hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Okay? And that's true. So, maybe they just need to go somewhere else. And that's just the way it's got to be. I don't want anybody to be jobless or to lose their job. We all have families to take care of. We have bills to pay. We have mouths to feed. Okay? But there is no sense of coming and working for establishment, and just because your life is wretched and you feel miserable doesn't mean that you go ahead and put that on others. You can't do that. We can't do that. But what's happening here is that everybody is just, they come here after being homeless and then they get ran out of here and they move away because of all the craziness here, because they don't have the right leaders, just like America does not have the proper leadership. So I'm going to start right here where I am at home, and I'm going to make a difference at this apartment complex. I am not running from here. I'm going to make a difference, and I have made a difference so far. I showed these people that I am not backing down. Okay? I'm not doing it. And so, as I said, I have showed that I pursued resolution before litigation. Another thing to look at inside this letter is that they don't represent citizens, okay, which is typical. I just want to point out certain things in this letter to talk about so you understand what's going on. I know I get a little carried away, but there's a reason for that. Just listen. Everything comes together. I always pull everything back in, okay? Pull the strings tighter. They can't. The thing about the Attorney General, they're not here to basically represent the citizens on behalf of the citizens, but they are here to facilitate. That is their job, to facilitate, to mediate, kind of like the judge does. Okay? So, again, they won't litigate for me, but they will help me out. And they encourage me to make reasonable considerations based on, consider reasonable offers. That's what they did. They encouraged me to consider reasonable offers, and really a reasonable offer will be what I asked for and then some at this point. I want to know that what their next step the next plan of action is going to be to benefit these veterans at this facility. I want to know, and I want it in writing, and I want it in policy, that these people are going to help these veterans in a way that they will never hear, for one, they will never hear again that veterans get too much or that they get more than they deserve. That's one thing that has been said by the property manager. Another thing is that the property manager, I won't get into all the drama, honestly, but things like that is where I'm at with this. And let's see, what more have I wrote about that I could talk about? So, yeah, this letter will be used. It'll be put into my evidence binder. Can't remember if I showed everybody my evidence binder yet, but it is getting bigger. This bag is my bag for court. I got my court bags. I don't know if you heard me, but I'm not sure if I've showed everybody my evidence binder. This is my evidence binder. Big, beautiful, and blue. And this is everything I have compiled since, June 6th was when I received the lease violation. Let's see. The first official letter I received. Hold on a second. Well, it looks like the first letter I really received was on June 5th. Everything happened so fast, and all I did was try to assert my rights. And it's not even that they had to agree with it. It's just the fact that I tried to assert my rights. Go ahead and you contact your legal team. And you say, hey, my tenant is saying this, and that. And you take everything that has been provided to you, and you run it across your legal team. And your legal team will go ahead and give you the answers. That's another thing that the Mercy Housing I want in writing, actually, is that I want them to say that before they write a lease violation going forward to anybody, that they're going to take it to the legal team and have it observed, analyzed, and then the legal team goes ahead and feeds them a response. Because if they don't do that, they can get a lot of trouble for a lot of things that they're saying. I mean, these false allegations that they have made towards me has already got them into a situation that will inevitably it will cost them a lot of money. So, when I was at the Young Invincibles, I don't want to say his name, but our mentor, he asked me, he said, how do you do all of this? How do you keep up with all of this? And really, I've been thinking about that for a couple of days, and really, it's as simple as there's many keys in the universe to many different doors. And our goal is to obtain these keys throughout our lives, so this way we can have universal access to these doors whenever we want to walk through them. Okay, and what I mean is there's many keys to success, okay? One key to success is discipline. Another key is simply organization. A third key is staying ahead of things, okay? Constantly reviewing and analyzing, reading. And really, I would say a fourth key is taking time to yourself. Put everything down. Phones, laptops, social media platforms, my platform, books, whatever it may be. And sit with your thoughts. And I think a good time to do that, in my opinion, is when you're working out. And that's why I like the gym that I work out at here at the facility where I live at. Because it's a gym where I could be alone. I could take off the headphones. I don't need music to motivate me. I don't need motivational speeches to motivate me to run those miles or to bench or to squat or to whatever I'm doing. I need me. I need that voice inside me. And I need to hear the one that is trying to tell me that I'm tired. I need to hear the one that's trying to tell me to give up. I need to listen to the one that's trying to tell me to walk away. Enough is enough. I need to listen to that voice so I can understand why it's trying to tell me this stuff. I don't want to quit. I don't want to walk away. I don't care that I'm tired. These are keys to success. So basically, it's like, I see it like my philosophy is that we become locksmiths throughout life. We create different keys to walk through these doors, such as the door of success. But there's many doors. There's many keys to the door of success. And there's many doors to success. Okay? And so basically, to sum up what my mentor said at Young Invincibles is that, how do I do all this? Well, I am really good at organizing. Sometimes it drives me insane, but this is proof. This is everything from day one to this very moment. Actually, well, not to this very moment. This still has to go in there. But it will be in there tonight. And to stay ahead, to get ahead, you gotta stay ahead. Okay, so I'm done with the Attorney General's letter. I'm gonna go now to the I'm going to read my response for the hearing tomorrow. Good morning, Your Honor. Leonidas Hamza, attorney in fact for the plaintiff, Tony David Leonard, appearing pro se by representation. And then basically I'll wait for the counsel to enter her appearance. It's a her, Judge Starwalt. Then I will nod and remain standing until the judge invites me to speak. You always wait for the judge to allow you to speak. You want... Here you just have to, in the courtroom, you have to wait for permission. Okay? It's just as simple as that. If you want to be respected, if you want to be heard... My thing was about to fall off the desk. Just respect the rules of the court. And respect the judge. Respect the bailiffs. Respect the defendants. Okay? Respect everybody. I don't care what's going on in this courtroom. Respect everybody. Treat everybody the way that you want to be treated. I don't care if they're your enemies. Treat them the same way you want to be treated. Okay? Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate the court's time. This case arises from a retaliatory lease violation issued by Mercy Housing on June 6, 2025. After I lawfully asserted my rights regarding my private vehicle, the complaint sets forth specific dated facts showing retaliation, defamation, breach of duty, and emotional distress. Then we go to count 1, breach of contract. Mercy Housing violated the covenant of good faith and fair dealing by issuing a false lease violation that undermined the fairness expected in a lease. Count 2, defamation. Melissa Taylor and Terry LaBounty accused me of threats and bullying. Those statements were false and harmed my reputation and tenant standing. Really, I think what I should say here, accused Tony David Leonard of threats and bullying. That's what it should be. So I need to fix that, actually. I'll go ahead and highlight that right now. See, this is why you should read things and go over things relentlessly. Read them out loud. Read them in your head. Hear yourself speak. I'll listen to this video before tomorrow. I'll listen to it when I'm done. This will be my longest video. I'm certain of that. There's a reason for that. I got a lot to go over. So bear with me. This is very interesting. And I hope you find this very interesting because this can help you. And I can help you. That's what I want to do. I want to help you. I want to help you so you can help yourself. All right? So sit tight. Count 3. Fair Housing Act Retaliation 42 U.S.C. Section 3617. Okay? I engaged in protected activity by asserting housing rights. The lease violation was a violation prohibited by the Act. Count 4. Ninth Amendment of violations. Now, your Ninth Amendment is a beautiful amendment. And if you have not read the Ninth Amendment, let me read that to you real quick. I'm going to read it to you word for word. But basically, by my understanding, the Ninth Amendment covers rights that aren't even listed in the Constitution. Here we go. Let's see. The Ninth Amendment to the United States Constitution addresses rights retained by the people that are not specifically enumerated in the Constitution. Exactly. It is part of the Bill of Rights. The amendment was introduced during the drafting of the Bill of Rights when some of the American founders became concerned with the future generations might argue that because a certain right was not listed in the Bill of Rights, it did not exist. However, the Ninth Amendment has rarely played any role in United States constitutional law, and until the 1980s was often considered forgotten or irrelevant by many legal academics. Well, here's the thing. It's not forgotten because I'm going to bring it forth. And I'm going to make sure that this is an amendment that is used because it gives you power. It gives the people the power in which they bestow, essentially. We the people. That's the preamble. I engaged in, my apologies, Ninth Amendment violation. Defendants interfered with my peaceable enjoyment of my home and rights to assert lawful property interest. Count 5. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. The conduct caused severe stress to my family, including my fiancé, a veteran, during and after pregnancy. Okay? So, here's a legal standard reminder, actually. This is very important as well. Under Illinois Code of Civil Procedure, Section 2-615, dismissal is improper where a complaint states facts that, if proven, entitle the plaintiffs to relief. So here, my complaint meets that standard. Each count alleges duty, breach, and resulting damages, supported by specific evidence, including the exhibits which were put on the file. And those exhibits that were put on the file, I have them here. Exhibit A was chronological timeline of events, detailed timeline from June 5th, October 5th, 2025. It's now, holy moly, I didn't realize that. It's been that long. Anyways, this is what's on file right now. Of course, I could update this because really, well, no, there's been no more exhibits put on file yet. All the other exhibits will be admitted into evidence upon trial. So this is perfect. So yeah, detailed timeline from June 5th, October 5th, 2025, outlining all material events, correspondence, and filings. So Exhibit B, lease violation, June 6, 2025. That's Exhibit B. Copy of false lease violation issued by Mercy Housing Management alleging threats and bullying. And this is fascinating too, actually. Exhibit A, all counts referenced in all counts. Background foundation. So Exhibit B, we go to referenced in the counts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So I created an exhibit index that, well, it has a description of the exhibit and it has a summary of the content in the exhibit, and then it was referenced in. So these are the different counts here. And basically, so it's saying it's referenced in count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I read you all the different counts, which is breach of a contract, defamation, fair housing retaliation, 42 U.S.C. Section 3617, Ninth Amendment violation, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Okay? Affidavits of facts is Exhibit C, July 18, 2025. Sworn affidavit and supporting case law mailed to Mercy Housing Headquarters with proof of receipt. This is in counts 1, 3, and 5. So count breach of contract, Fair Housing Act retaliation, 42 U.S.C. Section 3617, and 5. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. It was intentional, okay? And why I say this was intentional was because, for example, the day that I tried to talk to the property manager, and I know it was in his agenda to go ahead and mark vehicles to be towed. I talked to him, and I asserted my rights. He said he was going to contact some individuals and then come back and talk to me. He didn't do that. He went ahead and put a sticker on my car to be towed, and then that is when I reached out to the area manager, and so on. So it was just, yes, it was intentional infliction of emotional distress. He did what he did intentionally and joyfully. It's just the way that this guy is. But again, that could be known as speculation, unless there's other individuals to say that, yes, this is actually who this guy is, this is how he is, and this is how he operates. I have here, which is petition to claim. Won't show my petition, but the petition says, Mercy Housing petition. We, the undersigned tenants of Mercy Housing in Danville, Illinois, have observed or experienced unfair treatment by management, including retaliatory actions and disrespectful behavior towards residents and veterans. I have people here who have signed that petition that's claiming exactly what I'm saying here. Okay? So, well, that they're claiming that intentional infliction of emotional distress. All right. So, Exhibit D, email correspondence, chain of emails with area manager, acknowledging receipt of affidavit and ongoing communications. Okay. So this is count 1 and 3. Count 1 again, breach of contract. Count 2, fair housing retaliation, 42 USC, section 3617. And then we have Exhibit E, notice of intent to sue, August 25th to August 28th, 2025. Certified mail copy of intent to sue and proof of delivery to Mercy Housing headquarters. Again, this is the necessary chain of command that I took. These are the necessary administrative steps I took to resolve this situation. This is referenced in counts 3 and 5. 3 being Fair Housing Act retaliation, 42 USC section 3617. Now, this sounds very repetitive, yes, but this is how you get this stuff in your head. You consistently go back and forth, and you go ahead and you connect this with that and that with this. And this is how you go ahead and you get ahead. To get ahead, you gotta stay ahead. So this is how you stay ahead. You get ahead by staying ahead. Okay, you constantly remind yourself. And then count 5, intentional infliction of emotional distress. That ties into that, and that ties into the petition. The petition ties into intentional infliction of emotional stress upon veterans. Everybody that signed that's a veteran. Okay? So, do you see how this works? You see how I have this set up? It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. And then we have, so let's see, and then closing request. Your Honor, this case deserves to proceed to discovery so that the evidence can be fully examined. If you want to know more about discovery, go listen to the videos are all titled. Okay, they all have titles on them. If you don't want to read or listen to the first to the 10th, go read the titles and skip over. Do what you're going to do. But there's a procedure in which you should follow. Discipline your mind, discipline your thoughts, and just follow the necessary procedure. Watch things in order. I just talk like this and I say this because I know how people are. I know exactly how I am. I too want to just jump all over the place. I was like, oh, this is beneficial. I want to know this. Forget all this other stuff right now. But no, I make myself, I'm like, you know what? It might take me a little longer to get to what I want to know in this very moment, but it's going to be worth it. There's a reason that you have to go into this chronological order. It all adds up. Got to start from the foundation and work your way to the top of the pyramid. So, basically, I respectfully request, so here, Your Honor, this case deserves to proceed to discovery so that the evidence can be fully examined. I respectfully request that the court deny the motion to dismiss in its entirety and allow this matter to move forward. Then stop. I would stop. You should stop. You got to practice this stuff. Practice your rhetoric, okay? It's very important. Wait for the judge's response or questions. Be patient. Slow down. Speak methodically. Pause. Pause in between sentences. There's periods for reasons. There's commas. Punctuation is important. Follow your punctuation. Make sure you use proper punctuation. This will help you understand and process exactly what you're trying to get across, not only to yourself, but to the other attorneys or the defendants or the prosecutors or the judge, whoever, keep calm and answer briefly. I wish I kind of had like a thing here where I could put my papers on. I don't like the fact of don't look down when you're talking. Unless you got these in front of you. I'm not an attorney, so I will be taking these papers with me. But do your best not to look down at the ground. Look at the paper that's before you, but also look at the judge. Look her in her eyes, look him in his eyes, and speak to them. Show confidence. Show awareness. Awareness of the room and awareness of self. So then I could possibly be asked a question or questions by the attorney, or most likely by the magistrate. So basically what I would say, and after reading all of this response to the hearing, I'd be like, Your Honor, the facts and documents attached as exhibits, particularly the timeline and affidavit, support that position. Now I say the timeline. This is actually a 3-page timeline, so I created everything that happened in order. And June 5th, 2025, plaintiff calmly asserts his rights regarding the vehicle to the assistant property manager. June 6, 2025, false lease violation issued by Mercy Housing, signed by, assistant property manager and property manager, alleging threats and bullying. June 11, 2025, plaintiff meets with, that was the property manager. He admits this is above me, but proceeds to mark vehicle for towing. July 2nd, 2025, okay. Plaintiff meets with area manager in person. She provides her card and contact information. So I'm reading it like this because this is how I wrote it, speaking to the judge, when this is what I put on file already. Because in the motion to dismiss, they said I did not provide enough evidence, whatever, in the complaint, which I was told not to, and it doesn't matter. I have evidence. As you can see this binder behind me, I have evidence, as you can hear everything I am saying in regards to this matter. July 3rd, 2025, plaintiff emails Fravel explaining retaliation concerns and request review. Now see, pause here. I did the same thing when I created this. I have date, I have the event summary, I have the linked exhibits, I have the recent counts, and then I have the notes to go along with it. Relevant counts. Anyways, I have a really, really well thought out and put together. The reason it's so well thought out and put together is because I've been working on it endlessly for going on almost 6 months. It's been a crazy ride. Okay, so July 3rd, 2025. So then July 16th, 2025, 28-minute phone call with the area manager. She instructs plaintiff to send affidavit to the Chicago office on her business card. July 18, 2025, plaintiff mails sworn affidavit and supporting materials to Mercy Housing's Chicago office. And then I provided the tracking number for whoever wants to look over this public file, and they can see that. July 21st, 2025, Chicago receives the affidavit certified mail. Okay. July 28, 2025, Fravel area manager confirms by email that she received, make sure nobody coming home right now, received the affidavit and several attempts were made by email to resolve matter. August 25th, 2025. Plaintiff sends notice of intent to sue to Mercy Housing headquarters and area manager, again providing the tracking number. And if you ever send these things, send everything certified, send, receive. I have these envelopes here. This is how you send them. Sometimes these envelopes, well, I don't want to say sometimes, because out of the last 2 years I've been sending these, there's only one time and one time only this has happened. But goodness gracious, look at this. Holy cannoli. I sent this to this was HUD. Yeah, this was my response back to HUD. A really tarnished, extremely tarnished packet, which is cool. I just went ahead and I said, alright, challenge accepted. And then I went back and redid everything and filed it online. See, like, actually, O'Hagenmeyer sent everything certified mail. I'm moving it too much. Certified mail. When you send everything certified mail, you get the... Maybe it's right here. I don't know. Ah, there it is. When you send everything certified mail, you send in this green card. It's called a PS Form 3811. That's what that looks like. I was saying I was going to show that as the tracking number on it. And if I'm not mistaken, this was to the Attorney General's office. 50 West Washington Street, Suite 701. I don't know. But, yeah. Certified send receive. Always. Certified send receive. And they always tell you at the post office, well, hey, we can do this without the green card. We can do this online, and they can sign it and you'll receive the green card online. But that's not true at all. In my experience, I never received. I can't even. I even created an account online to see if I can see on the postal website if I could see the green card which they signed and was sent through the internet. I couldn't find it, so I don't care. I paid that. It cost a little bit more money. Money's doesn't mean anything. Federal Reserve notes, I'll pay it. A little extra. Anyways, let's see. August 28, 2025, Mercy Housing receives the intent to sue certified mail. September 8, 2025, plaintiff files civil complaint in Vermilion County Court. September 10th, 2025, summons issued to defendants. September 11th through the 12th, 2025, property manager was served and on 9/11/2025, an area manager, but assistant property manager was served, which was September 12th, 9/12/2025. September 24th, 2025, Mercy Housing's registered agent served in Springfield. Okay, and what that means is a registered agent is somebody that receives a summons on behalf of the person known as the corporation, which is the company Mercy Housing. Because they're located out of the state of Illinois, you have to find out on it's the Secretary of State's page or something like that. You look up who receives summons for that on behalf of that person known as the corporation, which does not reside or domiciles in the state of Illinois. September 26, 2025. Summons to area that was area property manager fails. Alias summons later attempted and failed. Sheriff states Fravel is not listed as address even though business card says otherwise. Yeah, her business card says that she resides there as her, doesn't reside there, she works there as an agent on behalf of Mercy Housing. And there we go. And she's denying that she works there. I've sent the summons. I sent an alias summons. I sent a second alias summons. The second one. Oh wait, I sent this. Let's see. A second alias summons I sent here to the office in Danville, trying to see if I can get her served. Even if so, I'm going to do my best to take this and have her summons to the trial. So October 3rd, 2025, Melissa, or assistant manager, resignation letter left on all doors except mine, the plaintiff's. So she actually, after she was served, she put in her 2-week notice and was like, I'm done. and she left. She left here, but she left a horrible letter on everybody's door, which I got a hold of. And here, let me see what I got here. This is a long video, but that's okay. I'm honestly okay with that. Here we go. Alright. I'm not going to read Melissa's letter, but I will summarize I have a response here regarding Melissa's letter, a counter-argument. When I present the evidence to the court, I will say this letter dated October 3rd, 2025 was written and distributed by defendant Melissa Taylor to all residents of Cannon Place, excluding the plaintiff. The letter contains statements characterizing residents as angry, hateful, and miserable, while portraying the author as a victim of the tenant community. The tone and content of this letter demonstrates a pattern of bias and hostility towards residents, including veterans and families, and appear to serve as a preemptive defense for prior misconduct or retaliation. The omission of the plaintiff from distribution further supports the claim of targeted treatment and exclusion. This exhibit is presented to establish defendant Taylor's motive, bias, and retaliatory intent, as well as to illustrate the hostile environment perpetuated by Mercy Housing staff. Very clear there. It's not perpetuated by Mercy Housing, but it is perpetuated by your staff there, Mercy Housing. Gotta do something here. Got a lot of evidence connecting the dots together. I'm sure that the jury would love to hear this. The jury is us. It is the people. They know what it's like to experience these corporations infringing upon their rights. They will like this. Fair warning. Know thy enemy. So, yeah, that's her letter. Well, that's a response to her letter. Really shiesty letter, if that. And then we have, furthermore, October 4th, 2025, complaint filed with the Attorney General. October 5th, 2025, complaint filed with HUD. Now, I am waiting for the response from HUD, of course. And I received the response from them. I need to respond back to their email. I'm going to do that after I'm done here, actually. The email I was given, I'm going to respond to the assistant. Make note of that. You just basically want to email and be like, the letter was received. Clearly understood. Thank you for your time. Have a good day. Okay? So, now let me read this again. Your Honor, the facts and documents attached as exhibits, particularly the timeline and affidavit, support that position. Okay? And it supports everything I said coming up to that. This is, again, the call of the case. This is the responses which I will use tomorrow at the hearing. I'm not going to read the affidavit right now. I've already read the affidavit before. It's long, and I'm 54 minutes into this, which I don't feel drained, but I've never talked this long into one of my videos. So this is a long one. And it's got a lot of good information, so if you're still listening to this, keep going. To end this hearing, I will say, of course, thank you, Your Honor. And then I'll gather my papers neatly, calmly, and I'll bow my head slightly and just take a step back, take a seat. And so basically the defense will argue now, and I will go ahead and listen attentively, and then I will stand and ask if I may respond, if I have permission to respond. And in so doing, Your Honor, the defendant's motion misstates the nature of the case. My complaint pleads specific facts that state valid causes of action. The appropriate next step is discovery. And that's that. And we'll basically see what Your Honor says. What does Starwell have to say in this matter? Will she go ahead and lift the veil to the motion to dismiss? Who knows? I think so. This is going to be incredible. So basically, I wrote something here too at the bottom. This is just a reminder for me while I'm in court tomorrow. It's a mindset for the hearing. And I keep repeating, I don't need to prove my case today. This is not what this hearing is about. And I only need to show that my case deserves to move forward. I don't need to prove my case. I just need to show that this deserves to move forward to discovery. That's all this is about. It's not about evidence. It's not about motions. It's not about any of that. It's just about showing. That's why I say stop. Stay calm. Relax. Humble yourself. Move forward. Now, I was going to read my response in opposition to the defendant's motion to dismiss. But I don't think I need to. Maybe a little bit. What I did here was I wrote the opposition to the defendant's motion to dismiss, and I summarized everything I wrote here, and what I just went over in this video. This is a really well thought out 3-page, really 2-page. There's 3 pages because my contact information went over to a 3rd page. Even so, this is, for example, now comes the plaintiff, Tony David Leonard, in all capital letters. Okay? The all capital letters is very, very important. Oh, where am I? All capital letters. Okay? Now comes the plaintiff, Tony David Leonard, by and through his attorney-in-fact, Leonidas Hamza. I am Leonidas Hamza. And they might be a little confused on the name thing, and I'll have to explain that, whatever. And respectfully submits this response in opposition to the defendant's motion to dismiss, stating as follows. See, the whole name thing is because I was going through a name change, and I had not done so within the system's database, and so really I went by Leonidas Hamza, Leo, and my legal name was still in all capital Tony David Leonard. Stating as follows, plaintiff's complaint properly pleads facts that, if proven, state valid claims for breach of contract, defamation, retaliation under the Fair Housing Act, 42 U.S.C. Section 3617, violation of retained rights under the Ninth Amendment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The complaint sets forth specific factual allegations, including dates, communications, and supporting documents sufficient to place the defendants on notice of the nature and basis of the claims. Dismissal is therefore improper under 735 ILCS 5-2 hyphen 615 and 735 ILCS 5-2 hyphen 619, as the complaint presents actionable legal theories supported by well-pleaded facts. Okay? And then we go on to 2. Legal standard. Okay? A complaint must contain a short and plain statement of the claim showing that the pleader is entitled to relief, which is 735 ILCS 5-2-603A, Conley v. Gibson, 355 U.S. 41, which is 1957. On a motion to dismiss, all well-pleaded facts must be accepted as true and viewed in the light most favorable to the plaintiff. A complaint should not be dismissed unless it is clearly apparent that no set of facts can be proven that would entitle the plaintiff to relief. Marshall v. Berger, King Corporation, 222 Illinois, 2D 422, 2006. Now, I'm not going to go on to read all of this because arguments by count. We have the breach of contract, the defamation, count 3. Okay, so that's count 1, count 2, count 3, retaliation under Fair Housing Act, 42 U.S.C. Section 3617. That one right there is very important because everybody, Retaliation Act under Fair Housing Act, 42 U.S.C. Section 3617, that's important to you all, especially those under living in housing authority. So, if HUD oversees your facility, your residence, where you domicile, and very important. And that's why I've repeated it so much. I'm sure it's drilled into your head now. Count 4, violation of retained rights under the 9th Amendment. Count 5, intentional infliction of emotional distress, which is IIED. In conclusion, wherefore, plaintiff respectfully requests that this honorable court deny defendant's motion to dismiss in its entirety, permit this case to proceed to discovery, and grant such other relief and further relief as the court deems just and proper. Respectfully submitted, Leonidas Hamza. Wow, what a video this has been. What a video. It's been incredible. It's been nice talking to you. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because I have things to do. Yeah, it's 2:34. This was great, though. This was great practice. This is a great review for my mind and my soul. I needed this. I feel so confident about tomorrow. Like this attorney said, I won't win this. But I will win. I always win. Even when they tell me I lose or I have lost or the motion will not be to dismiss the motion will not be granted, I still win. I always win. Maybe not out here, but inside here, inside my heart, I win. I learn, I grow, I thrive to succeed. I'm not losing. No matter what, I don't lose. So I'm going in there tomorrow as I have already won. Because I have won already. I won. I won, Mercy Housing. I am a winner. And there ain't nothing you can do to stop that. I won. Leonidas Hamza out. Y'all have a blessed day. Don't forget, you too have won. Okay? Don't look at failure as a negative. What's the word? Just don't look at like a negative action, a losing, as a bad notion. That's what the word I was looking for. Don't be hard on yourself. You have to fall to crawl, and you have to crawl to walk. Okay? You have to fail to succeed. And when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, that is when you become successful. And that is not my quote. I don't know the particular individual who quoted that, who stated that, and I want to put that forth, but don't forget that when you want to breathe as bad as you, or when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. Don't forget you have the ability to respond. Your responsibility is to have the ability to respond. Don't give up. Not today. Keep going. Again, Hamza out. I'm done rambling.